The ocean is critical to all life on Earth. For example, you might not know phytoplankton in the ocean are responsible for producing 40% of the world's oxygen. What could be more important? In addition, half of the world's population relies on the ocean for some form of its protein. And by the way, we know the forecasts are that the wild fisheries are maxed out and we'll need aquaculture to feed the world. So the very survival of our humanity, the air we breathe, the food we eat, depends on a vibrant and healthy ocean. And what could be more important to us in our region? So that's why, over the last 18 months, a dedicated group has come together to build an incredible collaboration. A collaboration that brings together 3 of the 4 Atlantic provinces with 4 of the top 5 ocean institutes in the world. It's a historic partnership. It includes 3 federal departments and the Navy, 19 industry partners, and the generosity of incredible donors like John Risley, who's invested $25 million in this. It's a new global partnership. It's a new global partnership that brings together the best of this region with the best in the world. We call it the Ocean Frontier Institute, or OFI, and it's about 3 things: sustainable fisheries and aquaculture, better understanding of climate change, and delivering new ocean data and technology products to end users. What could be more important? And what could be a better place for this kind of work than right here in Atlantic Canada? I'd like to now invite a member of the OFI team to the stage to tell you more about the research and technology involved. Please welcome Dalhousie professor, Dr. Sarah Iverson.
Thanks, Richard, and good evening. I'm the scientific director of the Ocean Tracking Network, which is a global biological ocean observing system, and in fact, the only one that is truly global. And yet it's headquartered right here at Dalhousie, and it's now a component of the Ocean Frontier Institute. We track thousands of individual animals of over 100 different species using revolutionary new tracking technology that tracks animals in the ocean in relation to changing ocean conditions. And we track everything from crustaceans to fish and sharks, turtles, marine mammals. And one of the very cool revolutionary technologies or tools that we use is this guy right here. No, he's not the door prize. This is called a wave glider. And what's so cool about this glider is that it is completely self-propelled by wave action. It has these large solar panels that basically power any of the instruments it carries to track animals throughout the ocean and to track ocean conditions. And so it is, we'll switch to the slide again, it is basically emission-free, cost-effective, and it goes wherever we tell it to go from the comfort and safety of our computer. And so it's really changing the way that we study the oceans. And why do we need a tool like this that's so mobile throughout the ocean? Well, it turns out marine animals recognize no boundaries, no regional, national, or international boundaries. And just as an example, these juvenile salmon that leave our rivers, and those in the northern United States, and we hope return to spawn, they basically head to Greenland in between. And so they're the exact same individuals that Greenland fishes. So we have to better understand and work together globally to try and manage our resources. We are also tracking snow crab and basically helping to inform the second most valuable fishery in Canada. And we're also tracking things like the blue shark, which is the most common shark species in our waters and is critical to our ecosystem. And in fact, we recently had the assistance of a now very talented shark tagger. Take it away, Rick.
I am 2 hours southwest off the coast of Nova Scotia on the greatest field trip any student could possibly imagine. Today, I joined undergrads from Dalhousie University and members of the Ocean Tracking Network in a quest to get up close and personal with nature's most feared and misunderstood creature, the shark. At the Mercer Report, I am, as always, hands-on. Unless, of course, something eats my hand.
Thank you, Rick. Well, so what have we learned? Well, I'll just, of the many sharks that we have tagged of this species, I'll just give you 2 examples. The first one is our red blue shark, who basically, came out and went along the continental shelf and then kind of came back. But these blue sharks in our waters are not just our sharks. We take the green blue shark, and he booked it all the way south of Disneyland. So you can see these animals really do use a global ocean, and we have to understand it and manage it together like that. And so with the Ocean Frontier Institute, one of the newest initiatives are some intensive studies on Atlantic halibut. Perhaps you remember the last time you went to the grocery store and paid $20 a pound for a steak. And the Atlantic cod, which is finally, it appears, in the northern regions, seems to be recovering. And so we don't want these populations to go away. We want to understand them, we want to manage them, and we want to be able to sustainably use them. And so coming together in the Ocean Frontier Institute, by establishing these amazing partnerships both nationally and across nations, and being able to collaborate, share resources, infrastructure, equipment, data, and expertise, we really are truly now poised to become a world leader in oceans research, and we are poised to be able to truly try and better understand, manage, and adapt to our changing oceans so that we can continue to sustainably use them. So back to you, Richard.
Thank you, Sarah. Sarah, thank you for that, and thank you, of course, for all the work you do to inspire our students and advance research, an area that's so important to this region and to this world. I hope all of you feel the success or feel part of the success of this, because by building on the strengths in the ocean industries and the skills represented by everyone in this room, we've been enabled to build this partnership that enables us to undertake science at a scale that's never been possible before. As Sarah kind of indicated there when you saw that shark heading for Disneyland, you see that the issues of the ocean are too big for any one university to tackle on their own. And in fact, they're too big for even one country to tackle alone. So next I'd like to invite Dr. Paul Snellgrove from Memorial University. Paul is the network director of the NSERC Canadian Healthy Oceans Project, and he's going to talk to us about how we were able to create these historic partnerships. Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, and greetings from Newfoundland. We share a really special piece of oceanic real estate, which is the Northwest Atlantic. And so I want to take a few minutes tonight to tell you why it's so special. So first of all, we, of course, are the Arctic Gateway. And so as interest in the Arctic expands and we see great change happening in the Arctic, we're really well poised to try and go up there and do work, and we're right at the doorstep for potential research projects. A second issue is that it's a sea of challenge, and so the Northwest Atlantic creates a lot of challenge in trying to do research. It also creates challenge in trying to do commerce. And so how can we make sure we have safe and sustainable oceans, come up with technologies and approaches that will allow us to go out there and work safely and sustainably? A third issue is that it's a hot spot for productivity. Now, this is true on a global scale. We're one of the most productive areas of the ocean around the world, and of course, that's why we initially settled Atlantic Canada, because of the productive fisheries. So trying to understand that productivity and how it's going to change in future oceans, lots of tremendous questions there and opportunities for research. Another issue that you may not realize is that the North Atlantic is a hot spot for climate change. And what I'm referring to here is the Labrador Sea, not so far from where I was born, in fact, which is one of the hot spots globally for where carbon dioxide is absorbed by the ocean. Now that's really important because the ocean has sucked up a lot of the carbon dioxide that we've pumped into the atmosphere. And if that hadn't happened, we'd be a lot warmer today than we actually are. So trying to understand those changes and what's going to happen with that hot spot of carbon sequestration becomes a really critical question for oceanic research and indeed for human society. And of course, the Atlantic Ocean is part of our identity. I myself am the descendant of a fisherman, and I suspect many of the people in this room have close connections to the oceans. So we've depended on the oceans, our livelihoods depend on the oceans. Today, of course, I plumb the oceans for knowledge, as opposed to my grandfather plumbing for fish. But nonetheless, we draw on the oceans for inspiration, for our economics, and for our societal advancement. So many of us at Memorial University and at Dalhousie University and University of Prince Edward Island have worked together over the years, but it's really been piecemeal. And so we have individual projects, we have good collaborations, but it really has been in bits and pieces. And we can do a lot better. Fortunately, now we have the Ocean Frontier Institute, which will create brand new bridges that allow us to work much more holistically and in a much more coordinated fashion. It really is the opportunity of a lifetime, and it's really a wonderful opportunity for those of us who are involved in it. And so when we think about sustainable oceans, we should think about all the issues, the challenges associated with that. In Europe, we talk about blue growth. It's been a hot topic there. But here in Atlantic Canada, we know there are great opportunities for ocean wealth from this part of the world as well. But how can we do that in a safe and sustainable way? And so that's really what the Ocean Frontier Institute is all about. And so what I want you to think about as I close is the fact that we have a group of scientists who work very well together. And what we're talking about here is one institute, one ocean, one solution to the many problems that we face together. So thank you for your time, and back to you, Richard.
Thank you, Paul, and through you to all of your colleagues at Memorial, President Gary Kachanowski, and also our late colleague and friend, VP Research Richard Marceau, who we lost earlier this fall, but who was a visionary behind this project, along with our colleague, VP Research Martha Crago. So thank you again. You know, the Ocean Frontier Institute, in addition to advancing research, will be a linchpin in Atlantic Canada's ocean economy. It will support the growth of ocean startups and established companies thanks to collaborations with Oceans Advance in St. John's and with the new Centre for Ocean Venture and Entrepreneurship, or COVE, in Halifax, which is being developed on a retired Coast Guard site with the Nova Scotia Community College. And I know Don Bureau is here this evening. Welcome, Don. And make no mistake, the opportunity here in the blue economy is huge for Canada. The ocean economy represents about 5% of global GDP, and that's forecast to double in the next 15 years. But in Canada, it's only about 2% of our GDP. So the opportunity is there. OFI creates the research and the partnerships for us to advance it for this region. OFI, as I said, what's remarkable about it is that it brings together the best of this region with the best in the world to be competitive on the global stage. And when we did that, look what happened. We were awarded the largest federal research grant in Canada this year, $94 million. But wait, there's more. It sounds like a commercial, doesn't it? But wait, there's more, because on top of that grant, we attracted more than $220 million in ocean science technology investment in Atlantic Canada. And it's a game changer. It's an accomplishment that we can all be proud of, and I hope that you share in the success of it.